My name's David Keene. I head up marketing here in the UK and Ireland, and this is my event. And one of the things that I'd just like to tell you before we get into that is this entire event, 12 events over 5 days, more than 1,000 people through the buildings, were all run using the technology that we're talking about today. So we actually built, we managed, we coordinated a huge swarm team of people, a very large matrix, to achieve what I think is a great result. But what I'd like to start with is, where do ideas come from? And more specifically, where does the future come from? And I think it's a great question to take away and just kind of ponder, maybe over your glass of wine after we've finished here, on the train home, in your car, however you're getting back, and think about, where does the future come from? And for your organizations, where does the future come from? For you as a person, where does the future come from? Google, okay. Maybe that's part of it, but it's not the only part of it. And also for society, where does the future come from? And I think I was so pleased today for Gary to bring the team from IPACA and to hear a bit, because to me, the future comes from, you know, the 4 young people, young adults down here. And can we just give them a round of applause, because I thought they were superb. And as my daughter would say, you've just embarrassed me now, Dad. But let's think about this idea of, where does the future come from? And how does it get there? How does it get distributed? Who hands out the future? Are you going to get given the future when you walk through that door and we give you a Chromecast for filling in a feedback form, or however we close off the day today? No, that's not the future. That's not how it gets dished out. There's not somebody there handing out the future saying, okay, Organization A, here's some future for you. Organization B, here's some future. It comes from people. The future comes from people. It doesn't come from institutional constructs. It comes from people having ideas. Often those people are young people, and I'm really hoping some amazing Python coding going on over there right now, delivering amazing solutions. But the kind of ideas that get produced aren't just computer ideas. It's how things change our world, how things make the world better, how puzzles are solved. So if we look at, where the future comes from, what's driving the future, to me, the who is not just about young people. And I'm going to keep saying that because I'm old. Particularly to young people, I'm old. I still feel really young. And I love doing puzzles. I love solving things. So to me, it's about being needy of a solution, being able to actually find a solution to a problem, and continuing to look for problems. So as you think about this question of, where does the future come from, I'd ask you to think about, what are the problems you're trying to solve? What are the puzzles you're trying to solve? And if the only puzzles that you've got are, how do I move my margin by 0.01%, then I'd say you're probably looking at the wrong puzzles there. So the people who are solving these things are people who have a need to solve a puzzle. Often they're young because they're trying to make their way in the world. Often they have significant challenges. I was in a taxi today. This is a genuine story, because I left my Google Glass in Le Méridien Hotel at Piccadilly. I jumped in a taxi to zoom down there. And the guy was telling me his life story, that he'd had a lung transplant, and was telling me how he'd changed his life and the amazing things that he'd done, and how he'd reevaluated all of his priorities. And he left me completely in awe about kind of what he was now doing, and more importantly, actually, what he was giving back, and how he was supporting other people, and how he changed his priorities. So the need to make changes, the need to make things better is really important. So opening this up, I'd like you to think about the future and how you can improve the ability for more of that future to be distributed to your organization. Because the future gets dished out to you based on your need to make things better, your willingness to make things better, and your willingness to change. And as a race, we're hardwired to solve problems. We love solving problems. Here's me at a young age, dressed to impress. We love solving problems. And what I did, in producing this slide, and I'm not going to read through all of these, you can read them as well as I can. I went through and I looked for some of my heroes in terms of the amazing inventions. And I went back to Thomas Newcomen in 1712, inventing the steam engine, which really kicked off the Industrial Revolution. And when we think about that, it's actually 300 years since the steam engine was invented. Well, 302 years. We should have had an anniversary for it. I think there might have been some stamps that I saw. But the steam engine really opened up the Industrial Revolution because what it did was it actually provided power on tap to run machines that could do stuff. Before that, you needed horses or people pushing them. It wasn't really on tap in the same way. And that first Industrial Revolution came about as a result of the invention of steam. And then the refinement of the steam engine by James Watt and the introduction of beam engines and all of the kind of additional power that came through. And that was the first Industrial Revolution that transformed our world. The second was when electricity came in. And we had a different type of power on tap that could drive machines. We didn't need to run our own steam engine, buy our own coal, burn stuff, put water in. So that second Industrial Revolution was all about, let's take a plug, let's plug it into a socket, and let's get power to do things. And the third Industrial Revolution has a real parallel to the steam engine. So the third Industrial Revolution, as it's documented, was the introduction of IT and early robotics in the factory, owned by the factory. And we're now just about to get to what's often classed as the fourth Industrial Revolution, where that moves from being in the factory to being on tap. So where we can actually pull computing power on tap from the cloud, and we can transform the way we make things, we interact, we do things, we move around our urban economies. So it's really quite amazing. And the one other thing I'd pull out there that really strikes me, just looking at these dates when I put them in a list, was things start slow and then they get really, really fast. So my list actually, when I first produced it, went over 2 slides, and I thought you'd probably get bored of it by then. When I told you, you know, when I'd gone beyond Bell Labs and the transistor and William Hewlett and David Packard establishing HP and kind of kicking off Silicon Valley, I thought you'd probably get it from there, or at least know most of that. But the speed is increasing, the pace is increasing. And this pace of change is driving unprecedented innovation. And to me, innovation is not just Google Glass or a Chromebook or something like that. It's these broader, bigger themes. And let's bring them back to these industrial revolutions I've spoken about. This idea of the steam engine and kind of power on tap. What we see is that now this fourth industrial revolution is being powered by technology on demand, being able to pull from the cloud. Okay, I need to do something. I'm Callum down here. Callum's the CEO of Callum Corp. Do you have a business name? No, okay. Make one up, quick. Callum Corp. Okay, it is Callum Corp it is. You'll hear that in the future. So Callum Corp's up and running. He pulls down power. He doesn't need to build his own data center. He has cloud services. He has an elastic technology infrastructure. Whether it's from Google or someone else, it's there, it's available, and it's on tap. Electricity powered the conveyor belt and the assembly belts. And those early processes that could move along and have things done to them have been replaced by what we call the Internet of Things, connected things, processes that think, processes that understand. And then automation technology, which is the first wave of IT, ERP, all the other systems that go along with that, initial robotic solutions. What we now see is we see thinking machines, smart factories, advanced analytical environments, big data environments where just phenomenal amounts of data are being managed by machines and then summarized for humans. Sounds scary, huh? Let's talk about the people in all of this, because the people are really important. Without the people and the ideas and where the ideas come from, we do nothing, we get nowhere. So the first industrial revolution drove urbanization. People moved from the countryside to live around factories. Great, not a great lifestyle. What we now see is this whole idea of urban futures coming in, where the fact that people can work the way they live, the fact that they can do whatever they like, they can pull power from the cloud, they can be in any location globally, and the fact that supply chains are now stretched across the planet, and we're not just doing things in one place, means that people can be anywhere, and people can choose whether they want to work for a big corporation like Callum Corp over here, or whether they want to be an artisan and actually produce their own things. And one of the things I love doing is talking to some of the artisan businesses that are having incredible success using this technology and really disrupting the environments that are out there. If you look at technologies, many of the technologies that children may use to communicate, certainly my children have all moved off things like Facebook and Google Plus, and they're using other technologies like Snapchat, etc., that they know that I'm not on. These things are just being set up with a very small number of people. So exponential industry change. And one thing I just wanted to very briefly do was talk about this Internet of Things idea. Stop it.
This is only a test.
I know.
The alarm will sound.
No, we don't want the alarm. Okay, what we'd like to do, I'm going to give this alarm to Paul. I'm going to check his carbon monoxide levels. So these are Nest. We've been speaking about Nest. So this is not a digital device for my wrist. This is actually a thermostat, but it's beautiful. Really, come and press it later. It's very, very nice indeed. And what these do is, this device connects to the internet, is smart, talks to you, interacts with you when you say, stop beeping, connects to your phone, allows you to know when your house is on fire when you're out. If it detects carbon monoxide in the home, it will turn off your boiler because it talks to the thermostat. Now, these are simple examples of the Internet of Things. And if we just actually, could we just switch to this wolf vision? And if we could zoom in, can we see that? Can we zoom in a bit? Okay, so on my phone here, we can actually see Google London, and it's testing the smoke levels and the carbon monoxide levels around. Paul, you're okay. It's good. I did ask if we could light a fire in here just to show it working and to show the alarms. They said no. Computer says no. There we go. So the Internet of Things, very, very exciting indeed. And Paul was very excited when I showed him those in the break. So coming back, the Internet of Things changing the way that the whole world fits together. And I'm being heckled by an intelligent machine. Finally, and I'll pass across to Olivier to start talking about moonshots, I just wanted to talk about people and machines. We often get asked, is it a zero-sum game? Are the machines taking over? Of course they're not. Look back to my list of inventions. When the spinning loom was invented, people said, that's it. We're all out of a job. We're not going to be able to manufacture cloth anymore. Okay, fair dues. Do something else. And at Google, we look at things based into 3 particular types of innovation. It's quite a useful model to think about. So we have the whole process-centered innovation, where we're looking at that polishing, taking that additional 0.1% or that fractional kind of improvements. We have lots of internal processes that we focus very, very heavily on here, doing A/B testing on the web to find out what people are doing. We have a program called GDNA, which is Google DNA, looking at massive amounts of data around the way people are operating, their well-being, all of those kind of things. So we focus a lot of our energy on just traditional Kaizen plan, do, check, act style activities. But then we also look at breakthrough technology and breakthrough design. And this is a nice way to think about it. You have to do that stuff. If you don't do that stuff, you're out of business. You have to do this stuff. If you don't do this, you'll become BlackBerry or a similar kind of business that's gone out of business or having a tough time, and somebody will out-innovate you. And they'll out-innovate you either from a technology angle or from a design angle. So radical innovation of either on the technology parallel or the design parallel. New categories come in. So this could be things like, innovating the browser like Chrome, real-time communication, Android. The really exciting thing for us is where you take together, rather than saying breakthrough technology or design, you have breakthrough technology and breakthrough design. New technologies that can do new things and amazing new ways to work. Now, I deliberately put 3D printing up here because to me, 3D printing is a breakthrough technology that is still looking for what's the breakthrough thing that will actually really make a difference to our world. That will likely move across to here when someone gets an amazing design for how we use it. We do a lot of moonshot work where those breakthrough changes coupled together with breakthrough design and really create what we'd call a technology epiphany, and things like self-driving cars, Google Glass, and a whole range of other amazing things.